Now, face the mighty bison.
In this video today, we're going to be talking about Tekken statistics. Now, I know we all seen statistics throughout this whole entire year. We know that at one point in time, Reina was the most played character in ranked. Now that title falls to Jin, King, and Kazuya. And it's pretty much been like that for the past 4 months, right? So we kind of know how the statistics are currently. But what I like about what this person does, Oblaze, for those of you who play Tekken 7 and is familiar with how we were given statistics from Oblaze in Tekken 7, you know that the numbers here is very thorough, and also it's over a long duration of time, so we can see which characters go up, down, and we can just see how everything just evolved as season one progressed, right? We're going to be talking about rank inflation, we're going to be talking about characters being buffed and nerfed, how that affects the usage, a lot of things. So I'm just going to dive right into it because I don't want this video to be too long. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, follow me on Twitter and Twitch. But let's start. So it says Tekken 8 ranked leaderboard statistics. Character pass 1 is now over, and a final character turned out to be a guest from Final Fantasy. I'm quite interested to see how Clive is end up doing compared to Noctis in Tekken 7. But before that, we really need to look at Heihachi. Just to be clear, these statistics are before Clive was released. I will make a follow-up once the comparison is made with Noctis and Clive, because I'm definitely interested in how that pans out. This person has a lot of statistics, and I'm sure they would have held on to the statistics from Tekken 7. And if you're watching this video, I would like to throw an idea out there. Maybe add a section where we can see how Tekken 7 ended and compare that to like season 1, season 2 as well, right? Just so we can see like what's really happening with characters as they progress, and even ranks. I have all of these tabs open. We're going to go one by one through all of these. And the first one here is character individual. So I just clicked on some of the ones that are the most talked about. Fujin is the rank Alyssa is like the most at, and that will probably be true for everyone, because Fujin is most popular rank in the whole game right now. That's kind of crazy, right? In Tekken 7 it was red ranks, now it's blue ranks, which is a huge jump. This is Devil Jin. So the reason why I wanted to pick Devil Jin is because I'm clicking back and forth between Alyssa and Devil Jin, so you could just look at the difference between a high tier character and a character that's considered low tier, right? And you could just see how even though a character is low tier, they do better online. And this is what I talk about when I say we can't just base our ideas off of what happens in tournaments. We have to look at these characters in many different ways. Like Devil Jin, players place way higher than Alyssa players in rank. That is pretty crazy. And even if you go back to the beginning of the year, right? Fujin, they were there. Mighty Ruler, they were there, right? So that's what's important about this, is you can see comparatively how characters are stacking up. Now, Dragunov, another top tier character. Look at this guy. So Kazuya players, it's a lot of talk about whether or not Kazuya players are downplaying, whether or not he needs buffs, his combos, his punishment, his poking. I feel like Kazuya is a very complex character, and a lot of people are struggling to really master that type of gameplay, especially when you have all the other characters who are super simple, super streamlined. You just press a couple of buttons and the game does everything for you. Kazuya is one of the few characters who that isn't 100% true, but at times it still can be true with like a 4-4-2 and whatnot, right? But as you can see here with Kazuya, Fujin at the start of the game was the most populated rank, but as time progressed, people started to flat out a little bit. Raijin is very high, Kenshin's very high, Tekken King is very high. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. So what character is this? Panda. Everyone talks about how Panda is like so powerful, but look at her. Her statistics are the worst so far, right? A lot of Panda players are still stuck in red ranks, even though as a majority, everyone moved to like Fujin. This is pretty interesting because Panda gets so many free wins, and he would expect her to be higher up. Like, who is this? Steve Fox. Steve Fox is a character who's considered very trash, but he's placing very, very high. It seems like everyone is either in the blue or in the Tekken King, but then you hit a brick wall and everyone stops. No one really, no character is truly shining in the Tekken Emperor range. But let's move on. The next section that we have here is individual ranks. So this will show which characters are dominating which ranks comparatively. And the highest characters in Kenshin rank is Jin, Heihachi, Dragunov, and Brian. When you move on to, this is Bushin, you can see that Fang shows up out of nowhere. Heihachi is still pretty tall, Jin is still pretty tall, Dragunov is there, Brian Fury is there as well, King is starting to rise up. Tekken King, so you can see it's a little bit more flat, but Jin is still poking, Dragunov and Brian Fury, so that's a common trend. So those four characters. Remember when Fang Wei was just super tall? You skip like 3 ranks up, and then the Fang Wei players drop off like a landmine. Where's Yoshimitsu at? My guy, Yoshimitsu's all the way on this end. He's not really like poking out too high. Maybe he will once we go higher up. This is higher up. You see, this is Tekken Emperor. The Heihachi mains really rise up. Jin still there, Dragunov there, Panda very low. Yoshimitsu still pretty much on average. Eddie's like average. Let's go up one more. This is God, Tekken God. So this is where I'm at. And you could, Heihachi is just so crazy, bro. This is why I'd be so upset about Heihachi, and I'd be trying to tell people that Heihachi is stronger than what everyone says. Everyone says Heihachi is like B tier, but I think that's probably not the case. But I do understand like tournament players play a different type of Tekken, and Heihachi doesn't really shine in that aspect. And also how complex the character is. It's very demanding for not that much power. Why would you play Heihachi? Why would you ever play Heihachi when you could just play Jin or Dragunov? The next one, you have Tekken God Supreme, you have Dragunov and Heihachi, and then the final one, you have Dragunov. So this is God of Destruction. Dragunov is the leading character there. Now, I noticed this has been said time and time and again, so I'll just make it short. But the fact that Dragunov dominated for the entire year, it's pretty crazy that the developers never stepped in to tackle that character. I know they said they don't want to, interfere with tournaments. When tournaments is going on, they don't want to balance the game. But let's say they destroy Jin, Dragunov, Nina, Yoshi, whatever you think the top characters are. Let's say they destroy those characters, but by accident, they make Leo, Leroy, Lee, and like Lars the new top tiers. Are we going to have to sit the entirety of season 2 and just be dominated by those characters and not achieve any kind of balance? I would like for the developers to step in at, let's say, like a halfway point, either before or after Evo, and try to establish some kind of balance to the game. Don't allow characters to run amok for an entire year. That's unacceptable. Now you have this chart here. Well, this is a better way to demonstrate the inflation, right? Everyone talks about how the ranks are inflated. So look at this. As you can see here, the orange all the way on the left, this is when the game first came out. Look at how many people were in orange ranks. You look at when Lydia released, and all of those orange turns to red. When you move over a little bit more, you still have a lot of reds, but now the orange is completely gone. And you can see, like, when you just move up, look at how the blue ranks has increased crazy. The blue ranks is probably the biggest thing here. This is what's crazy too. If we were to draw a line straight across, you see how red ranks and purple is pretty much like there. Like, it's crazy just visualizing how the entire player base is moving up. And even at the top ranks, you can see when the game first came out how few people were there, and now how many people are there. Now, this is what people say about the top ranks, is that in the top ranks, when the game first came out, it was easy to achieve the top ranks, and now it's harder to achieve the top ranks. If that was true, why is there more people in God of Destruction now than there were when the game first came out? I don't know. I'm just asking that question. Maybe someone in the comment section can answer it. But even though we like to say this is the game being dumbed down, we even saw the same thing happen with Tekken 7, which is why I was talking about at the beginning of the video, having a comparison to Tekken 7, because in Tekken 7, you saw the same growth as well. Like, players will just naturally progress as time goes on and go up and up and up. So some of this is definitely Tekken 8 streamlined gameplay. We don't really talk about the point distribution system. That is what's really impacting this and is allowing people to move out. When you're in red ranks, orange ranks, you basically win more points when you win than versus when you lose. When you get to Tekken God, you lose like 720 points versus winning 600 points. In red ranks, you win probably like 600 points and then you lose like 400 points. So that alone will push people out of red ranks. So this is a pretty interesting graph. This is the most popular characters in the game, and it shows how they went up and down as time went on. Now, look at this. When the game first came out, Dragunov was number 1, Jin was 6, Brian Furry was 11. At the end, you can see that they're now 1, 2, and 3, right? Kazuya, he was 17th when the game first came out. He jumped up 9 places around the time of Eddie, 4 places around the time of Lydia, and he dropped 1 around the time of Heihachi. And that's only because Heihachi is more popular than him, but he's jumped up dramatically, right? If you talk about Azazina, she was nerfed around this time, and players dropped her like a landmine. minus 15. That's launch punishable. This character has fallen so far, and I wonder if she will recover. Azazina is a prime example of the developers over nerfing a character. And even though you have a lot of problems in this game, Dragunov Jin, Yoshi, Nina, etc., I don't want to see these characters be over nerfed and fall to irrelevancy like Azazina. We have to prevent characters from that, or even Devil Jin, right? Where's Devil Jin on this list? Devil Jin he's maintaining. He was 7, and then he dropped to 12, and he jumped up to 11, and he was like kind of hovering at 11. So even though this character was over nerfed as well, he didn't lose as much as Azazina did, right? And I would argue that's probably because Devil Jin is a cooler character, and also he's a more legacy character. That's people's mains going all the way back in time, right? So people will stick with that guy. They won't drop him like they will a new character. Jun Kazama was also the character who dropped hard as well. She was 13. She dropped to 23. I would love to hear why a Jun main feels this character drops. Like, do you think she needs buffs? Do you think this? Do you think that? Because her tournament performance is incredible. If you watch the Tekken World Tour, there was Claudio's, Jin's, and Jun Kazama's everywhere. So this character is being played in tournaments. She's quite powerful, but still people are just not playing the character. And I always like to bring up how in past games she wasn't that popular, but then also in the Tekken 8 beta, the developers said that they were surprised that her usage was so low. Now that she's sitting at a 24 out of 35, I would imagine that they still feel the same way about the character, right? Yoshimitsu is probably the highest I ever seen him. He was top 10 when the game first came out. He dropped to 12, and then he's 16. This is the final chart, and what is this? Oh, so this shows the top 5 most popular characters in each rank. So in Kenshin, it goes Jin, Dragunov, Brian, Kazuya, King. In Bushin, it goes Fang, Jin, Dragunov, Brian, King. Why does Fang jump up so high in Bushin? Fang web players, tell us, why are you stuck in Bushin? Because all of this other stuff, you fade away. Now, you are here in Tekken God Supreme, you are in the back, your top 5 as well. And then God of Destruction, your top 3. But it seems like Fang West, your biggest hurdle is Bushin. If you make it out of Bushin, you have a bright future ahead of you. If not, not so much. You have Dragunov taking the #1 spot in 4 ranks. You have Heihachi taking it in 2 ranks. Jin taking 2nd place and 1st place. Wow, this is crazy. So this is the top characters in the game, right? No mention of Yoshimitsu, no mention of Nina, no mention of like Shahid and whatnot, right? It's just these characters. This is how the game has been progressing as time went on, right? This is year 1 of Tekken 8 and the characters who dominates it. I just like to take a look at these statistics because it gives us a real idea of what's actually happening.